Hi, welcome to the training video for the ReadMe Study. To begin, I'll sign in. This takes me to my home page, and I have two tasks. I'm going to work on the demo task, so I'm just going to click Work. That takes me to my assignment. Here we have the search bar. We have the document panel. We haven't done any searches, so there aren't any documents displayed. Then we have the GPE specification panel. Then we have the question and answer panel, which contains our question and the place where we will put our answers. My question is, find and list all people who have attended the G8 Summit in the city where the summit was held. So to begin, I'm just going to search for documents that mention the G8 Summit. I'm just going to type G8 in the search bar and hit search. The documents that are returned here in the doc ID list are relevance ranked, so the ones that are higher up, 1.37 is a higher relevance than 0.3, so I'm going to look at the highest ranked document first. And this brings up the document. This document's pretty short, and it says urgent G8, confident, potential for growth, draft statement, no mention of a person there. Finance ministers with a group of 8 richest nations meeting here Sunday. So this is this does not contain an answer because this is a group of people. This is not a single person. G8 economy finance statement. So this document's pretty short. It doesn't have any answers. So I'll click on the next document. Notice too, when I click on a document, the link turns a different color, so I know I've been there. Okay, next document. I'm going to scroll down a little bit and just read through. And right away we have an answer. So we have Chinese President Hu Jintao attended the outreach session of the G8 Summit in St. Petersburg, Russia, on Monday. So I need to annotate an answer to my question. It asks for the person who attended and the city that the G8 Summit was held in. So I need to capture text from this article. To do that, first I have to highlight it. So I'll do the person first. To highlight text, you click on the document and then drag and let go, and then Hu Jintao is highlighted in pink. Once text highlighted in pink, you can capture it. So what you do is you highlight your text and then click in the box where you want the text to go. The box turns green, hit enter, the page refreshes, and now we have two things that tell us we've done the annotation. One is that Hu Jintao has a blue underline. The other thing is that Hu Jintao appears in the person box. So the second component of the answer we need is the city where the summit was held. And here we have St. Petersburg, Russia. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to highlight the text by clicking and dragging. And you can drag and go down to the next line, but you have to make sure you select the right text. Let go, highlights it in pink. So I'm going to click in the city box because that's where I want the text to go. It turns green, hit enter, the page refreshes, and now I can see that St. Petersburg, Russia is highlighted or has a blue underline, and it also appears in the city box. So because this is a GPE, I have to specify which one. So I click on the specify box, and then I realize, oh, I need to go up there and actually find the GPE in the GPE specification panel. So I can't actually annotate anything in here until I look for it up here. So I know that I want to find St. Petersburg, so I'm just going to type this in, St. Petersburg, and I'm just going to type the city name in and tell it I'm looking for a city. I'll click Find, and it brings up 2 cities. One of them is in Florida, which we don't want, and one of them is St. Petersburg, Russia. So this is the one I actually want to specify. I'll click on it, and it automatically, the whole thing will turn pink. And I know now that it's ready to be captured. And I'll just scroll down and I'll click in the specify box, and I'm going to hit enter. The page refreshes, and now the GP is specified as St. Petersburg, Russia. So I've now annotated a full answer for this question. If I found another answer, I could click the Add Answer button, the page refreshes, and another answer panel would pop up. And I would continue looking for answers to my question for up to 2 hours, or until I feel like I found all the answers to my question. When I'm done looking for answers, or I've hit the 2-hour limit, I click on Finish with Kit, and the tool asks me, have you either found all answers for this question or been working on this kit for 2 hours? I'll say OK. And then it takes me back to my home page where I can continue working. Hello and welcome to part 2 of the ReadMe Study training video. I'm back at my home screen and I'm going to continue working. Your link will actually probably just say MR Phase 3 Eval. I have a demo for this video, so I'm going to click on Work, and it'll bring up my next question. This time the question is a little more complicated. So we have find and list all people who have worked for Apple, their job titles, and the maximal known periods of their employment with Apple. So first we need to search for documents that might contain answers to this. I'm just going to search for Apple because I know that often when people are mentioned as working for a company, the company name is mentioned near them. You could also type something like Steve Jobs if you know that that's somebody who works for Apple. You could also type something like Apple and CEO. You could type something like worked for. You can get creative with your searches. Anything you can think of that might bring up an answer to the question. Just for simplicity's sake, I'll just use Apple. So I've entered my search term, and I click the search box, and we have the doc ID list come up. I'll look at the highest ranking document first. And note as well, before we look for answers, that the documents actually contain a publication date, which is, in this document, 2007, January 11th. That might be important later when we're annotating the answer about the time periods. So I'm going to scroll down a little bit, and notice that this doesn't actually highlight my search term. When you have a long document, it can be useful to use the find command in your browser. So if you're working on Firefox, you hit Control F. If you're working on a Mac, you would hit Command F. I'm working on a Mac, so I'll hit Command F. And it brings up the find command. You don't have to do this, but it can make it easier. And I'm just going to look for my search term. And the browser will just highlight the mention each time, or highlight the search term each time it appears. So I'm just going to read through the document, but this will help me find my search term. So Cisco sues Apple over use of iPhone name. Okay, no person mentioned there. Next time, okay, Apple Incorporated as much. Probably iPhone. Okay, nothing there. Next mention. Cisco Systems sued Apple, claiming that Apple's okay. So far, no mentions of people who work for Apple. Cisco's asking the court to forbid Apple from using, again, no mention. Cisco said Apple approached the company several years ago. Still no mention of a person who works for them. And next mention, here we have something. We have, but Cisco said the talks broke down just hours before Apple's chief executive, Steve Jobs, took to the stage Tuesday at the annual Macworld conference and Expo to introduce the multimedia device. So now that I've found an answer to the document, I need to capture it in the answer panel. So as we did before, we'll actually highlight our text first in the document and then capture it. Notice this green is just because I was using the find command. This isn't actually indicating that I'm ready to capture. Pink is capture. So first I'll click on drag over Steve Jobs and let go. It turns pink, so it's ready to be captured. And my question asks for the person, so I'll click in the person box. It turns green, so I know it's ready to capture, and then I'll hit enter. The page refreshes, and again there's two things I'll check. Scroll down again to where Steve Jobs was. One is that Steve Jobs now has a blue underline, and the second is that Steve Jobs is captured in the person box. So I've got the first piece of my answer. Second piece is the title. So I'll look at this paragraph again, and his title is Chief Executive. So I'll highlight and let go. Chief Executive is now in pink. I'll click in the box I want it to go to. Box turns green, telling me it's ready to capture. I'll hit enter. Page refreshes. And now I'll scroll down again to where my answer was in the document. I see that Chief Executive has a blue underline and that it appears captured in the title box. The last component of my answer is it asks for the maximum known period of his employment with Apple. So I'll just read my answer again, and I see that it says that he took the stage Tuesday. So this is a mention of him being CEO, and it's just a single time point. And remember, when you have a single time point, you're only going to use this first box called earliest begin. And we'll start out just like we have done before. We'll click the word, we'll drag over the word Tuesday, let go, it turns pink, and we'll click in the capture box, it turns green, we'll hit enter, the page will refresh, and we have Tuesday captured from the document. Also, let's make sure it's highlighted, or it's got a blue underline. There's an additional step though when we have a time point, which is that we have to specify it, just like we did with GPEs. With GPEs, we use the GP specification panel. With specify, you actually, if you click in here, something does happen. It asks you to tell the tool the year and the month of the day, the year, the month, and the day that this Tuesday was. We don't actually know that offhand just reading this document. We can figure it out if we know the publication date at the top of the document. So since we don't know that for now, I'm just going to hit cancel. So let's figure out what day this Tuesday was. The way we do that is we scroll up and look at the publication date. And we see this is January 11th, 2007. And you can actually go online and look at a calendar, or you can use in our date pop-up. You can click on here and you can look at calendars. So I want to look at January 2007, and I want to see what the closest Tuesday was to the 11th of January, when the document was published on the 11th. So here's the document publication date, the 11th of January. Said that Steve Jobs took to the stage Tuesday. The closest Tuesday to the publication date is the 9th. So I'm just going to remember this, January 9th, 2007. I'll close the date pop-up, and I'll scroll back down. So now I actually know my date. I'll specify it. Click on the specify box. The year was 2007. The month was January. And the day was the 9th. Once I've entered it, I'll hit save. The page refreshes. Scroll down. And now I can see that I've specified in the tool that the Tuesday that's mentioned in this article was January 9th, 2007. So what I would continue doing is looking for answers in each of the documents in this list. And I'd do that for up to 2 hours or until I've found all the answers I think I can find. Each time I find a new answer, I'll add an answer by clicking on this button. The page refreshes. A new answer panel will pop up and I can capture the answer. When you're done, when you've hit the 2-hour limit or you've found all the answers you can find, again you'll hit Finish with Kit. And the tool asks me, have you either found all answers for this question or been working on this kit for 2 hours? I'll say OK. That marks my kit as finished, and it takes me back to my home screen. Since I don't want to continue working at this time, I'm going to go up to the Sign Out link and hit Sign Out, and I'm signed out. And the next time I come back, I'll sign it again, and I'll go to my home page, and I'll begin working.